Wormhole's going live. 3, 2.
This is The Wormhole, presented by Team FearWorm. Interviews, education, anything and everything to do with Halloween and haunted houses. And of course, marketing.
Well, hello everybody. It is Friday, which can only mean one thing. It's the FearWorm Wormhole, and I've got an excellent guest for you today. But before we get to him, I'm going to bring in a few other FearWormers that you might know. First off, I'm going to bring in Patrick Stanger, co-founder of FearWorm. Patrick, happy Friday. It's the Friday before Transworld. We're all going insane. Clearly, you are. So what are you doing?
I don't know. I'm working out. I'm getting ready.
You have to before Transworld.
That's me getting ready for Alan's crazy seminars that he has at Transworld. Alan Hops.
Apparently, he has like 5 of them that he's teaching and 6 of them that he's going to or something like that. It's
physical. Like, I think they do like some kind of weird martial art thing in there. Like throw people around, and like he has these powers that he uses, and people like fly across the room. It's like a Jedi.
Other than maybe Jen and Rich at Transworld, I think Alan is probably the 3rd busiest person at the trade show. It's insane. So before we get Alan on, we also have another FearWormer I want to bring in. That is Laura Kilpatrick.
Hey, everyone.
Hey, what's happening, Laura?
I don't know. Just get
ready for Transworld. I'm so excited. I can't wait. It's next week. Like, I cannot wait. I'm excited.
Her mic sounds weird.
Well, it's because we can't use her mic. She has to use my mic, which is right here. So yeah, Transworld is next week. I mean, we're literally like just days away, and we're all in crazy prep right now. And one of the people that is part of this, like I said, is our guest today, and probably, other than Jen and Rich, probably the busiest person at the whole trade show. And that is Alan Hops from Stiltbeast Studios and Dark Hour Haunted House. Alan, happy Friday. How are you?
I'm doing great. I got a little bit of sleep last night, and then I got up really early, and I'm making monsters, and things are good. So this is exactly what's supposed to be happening this time of year.
Yeah, I know last year was a little different because it was in May, and so it was like the weather was warmer. It was weird, but now it's like right where it should be, right where we are used to going to St. Louis when it's freezing cold.
Exactly.
Well, I don't think it's gonna be cold up there. It's not gonna be cold, is it? I looked at the forecast. It's gonna be.
I really don't know. I know here in Kentucky right now it is like in the mid 50s, but tonight it's going to drop to like 20, and we're expecting snow and ice.
Here in Dallas, it's 31 degrees right now.
So that's what's coming our way. Okay. But hopefully by next week, maybe by the week of Transworld, it'll warm up a bit and be nice. But Alan, welcome. I know I was kind of alluding to all the things you have going on at Transworld, but I wanted to maybe talk really quick. This is normal Transworld for us now after a few years. What is the one thing you're looking forward to the most at this year's Transworld?
So, like right now, because I'm sitting in my shop, I'm going to say seeing people interact and take in the new stuff we're making at the Stiltbeast booth. If I were over at my house and near my laptop, I would say the classes that I'm doing, because there's just been this research frenzy for some of the more esoteric classes that I'm doing, which is really fun.
Well,
yeah.
What do you mean? Can you explain that a little bit?
Well, I have one class that is requiring the most research, which I've been doing kind of for years, but obviously has to intensify right before class. And that is exploring the predator-prey relationship. And that the concept of that class is almost every scare in a haunted house is built around an ambush predator's tactics. You pop open a curtain and you jump out and you scare them like a trapdoor spider, or you drop a drop panel, you jump out, you scare them like a trapdoor spider. Well, there's like 25 other styles of predation. What can we do to build scares? The base fear of people is of being preyed upon, of being eaten, you know? So what can you do to emulate one of those other styles of predation and build scares around it?
I love that. I have my friend Josh, like one of his greatest fears is being eaten alive, especially by like a shark or something in the ocean. Like it's totally understand that.
Yes, there's well, I guess I don't cuss that much, but one of my sayings is there's ass in the ocean I cannot kick. Like I feel pretty good in the woods. If a bear attacks me, I don't think I'll win, but the bear's gonna know that I was there that day. But like a shark, I got nothing. Like I'm
Yeah.
dense. It takes a lot just for me to tread water, so
But then you have those weirdos that are afraid of things that make no sense, like butterflies, for instance.
right.
Yeah, Laura.
Who's afraid of that?
Who knows?
So I know, Alan, we were talking you mentioned your seminars. I know before we hopped on the live, we were talking about everything you have going on. So maybe let's talk about your seminars first and what you're teaching or what you're a part of.
Okay. So, and this is going to be really bad because my brain is in several places right now. I promise you, when I have to be at those places, my brain will be in the right zone for that thing. But I'm teaching 3 classes like on my own, and then I'm a part of 2 classes where I'm teaching with others. And those are always exciting to bounce ideas back and forth. So let's do the ones I'm teaching on my own first. I'm teaching a class called I forget the name of it, but basically what it deals with is what good came from COVID, after all the mess, and the mess isn't even over yet, but what positives can we pull out of that as an industry in order to move forward and kind of stand on it to push us up a little bit? Because a lot of positives did come out of that if you have the right mindset and you are willing to explore those opportunities. So that's one class. And then I talked about the predator and prey class. And then my third class that I'm teaching alone is I'm selling drugs and the customers love it. And what that class is all about is what customers are really buying from us is dopamine. What they really, when they come to a haunted house, what they're really doing is they want to feel good. They want to do this thing that isn't normal to make them feel better. So it is oxytocin, serotonin, dopamine. Those are all things that we can exaggerate how much of those chemicals are released in our guest brains, because there's certain things that trigger those things and those releases. And if we can maximize those, then we have guests who feel better about going to your haunted house, and that makes them want to come back.
Well, I like that you're touching on those things because, you see a lot of times in the industry, it's just, it's such a passion industry, right? Like people want to create things that they like, right? They think that this is my thing. I like this, right? And what I see you doing is really catering to the customer. Or at least exploring the idea of catering to the customer.
I do a bit of both because there are some times where I'm very heavy-handed. It's like I'm giving them this, whether they want it or not. They don't know they want it. I'm going to give them this thing. But what's good about the drugs class kind of is that whatever your flavor is, you can kind of wrap that around it. It doesn't matter if you are a asylum haunted house or a werewolf themed haunted house or whatever you are. It doesn't matter because those techniques can be applied to almost anything. And I'm a little esoteric in my classes and what I teach. I'm also that way in kind of my haunt themes and stuff. So, I do tend to push upon people at dark hour, especially. That's a great playground and test subject place. Weird stuff. And
Mhm.
let's see. I like this. I think it's cool.
Well, it's not just having your own style and this is my own haunt and I'm going to do it my way, but it's also, yeah, include making sure that your customer has a good time and that they're getting what they need when they come to you. I'm going to give you what I want to give you, but consider this. Here's the drugs that you need in order to feel good and to hit those things. So is it like a thing where you want people to feel all of those chemicals? They should somehow touch on all of those. And are you going to have demonstrations on how to actually, get those chemicals to
Yes.
react?
Yeah. I'm
Nice.
gonna share scenarios, and
Mhm.
if they see this, then helps. It increases the production of this chemical. And
Mm.
just I want it to be it's a very big, weird concept that we don't think about a lot, but I want it to be as haunt practical as possible. So I want it to have applications.
I want to see the oxytocin one because, that's a love chemical, right?
It is. It's the cuddle chemical, is what they call it.
I want to see that one.
But there's a lot of things. That's the hardest one to get, but there's a
Yeah.
lot of things that trigger it. And it's not just touch and hugging and chemical.
Mhm.
I don't want to get into it right now because
Nope. Tease it.
I have the least info on that because
Yeah.
it's so hard for us to get to.
Yeah,
I've only got
and you
about
gotta
10
go.
minutes worth of it.
Yeah, if you want more on that, people, you got to go to the seminar. Go cuddle with Alan.
That's what it should have been called, Cuddling with Alan. Cuddle, Oh, okay.
so Alan, you've got a lot going on, like
Yes.
education wise, and then and of course we'll be dropping information and links and things in the comments of this video about your classes so people can go. But I also want to talk about Stiltbeast Studios. So I see you are in your shop.
I'm in the
I know
shop right now.
we
It's
just had a
it's a little
cameo.
crazy there. Yeah. There's a lot of stuff in the shop and going on. And normally, I make something and it's for a customer and then it leaves and the shop stays kind of empty. But right now there's this big stockpiling. So there's
Mm.
monsters everywhere and things stacked on top of things. It's crazy.
So I was looking at the floor plan. You're in your what I would consider your traditional vendor spot on the show floor.
That's my corner.
Yeah, that's
I
your
am in.
corner.
When you go in, I'm in the front left corner, and that's where I live.
Mhm.
So for people that are watching right now who are really looking forward to seeing you and seeing your booth, is there anything you can maybe tease as to like some new things that's coming to your booth this year?
See, I'm not really a teaser. I'm just going to tell you, like we have some awesome stuff. Um, I got on a mental kick a while ago where I had the feeling like I wasn't doing my best work, and I wasn't doing my best work because with Stiltbeast, I've always tried to do again what does the industry need, whether I'm passionate about it or not. The industry needs apocalypse helmets. They need apocalypse looking stuff because at that point in time, nobody was doing it. And Macabre Creations is doing it, and he's amazing. Other people are picking that up now. And so I might back off of APOC a little bit down the road. But I thought the industry needed it. I wanted to fill that need. And, so I was by doing what the industry needs, it wasn't necessarily something that was my best work, it was what they needed. And instead of that now, I've decided to do some of that, but focus on things that I want to do and just have a line of things that every year Stiltbeast is going to do a new line. And this year is the botanical line. So it's all monster plants and forest monsters and some insects, but it's all about half of my booth space. I have 6 booths. So 3 booths is that traditional, it's the traditional Stiltbeast booth. And then the other 3 are costumes, props, and things that all go with the botanical theme.
So, Alan, are any of these things butterfly related? Because I think we know somebody that is afraid of butterflies.
There will be a Mothman stilt costume at the booth, which they're
Can't wait
very
for
very mothy.
that.
Laura might want to avoid that corner.
It sounds interesting. Botanical. I like that. Did you come up with that?
I came up with wanting to do plants. This was a shift from what we were going to do. And Stacy, who works here in the shop, I call her the suggestion harpy. She suggested, she kind of came up with the pun name Botanicals, and it just kind of stuck.
Yeah. Tyler's looking to see if botanical.com is available right now.
It's not.
Did you look? Is it not?
No. Sorry, I'm not.
I mean,
like,
it is. It's
I'm
in
not
that.
looking.
Yeah. It's taken. We want to go ahead and get that one.
Yeah, I just don't think there's enough plant monsters, and also there's very few things at Transworld are themed for outdoor haunts. And I wanted to make characters and costumes and stuff that you could just pick up and put outside, and anywhere outside, anywhere there's a nature environment, that's going to work and that's going to do its thing.
So, Alan, because I've worked with you before at Dark Hour, so I kind of know some of your creative processes just from seeing kind of the way you work. So, what were some of the things that you looked at for inspiration for these plant projects? I'm really curious.
So we have had a glorious, influx of fungal and plant-based creatures, monsters, and inspiration. They have The Last of Us, I think, is the video game with the clicker zombies that have big fungal protrusions. Uh, Cordycepsis, I'm probably saying that wrong, but that is a fungus that attacks insects, and basically it breaks out of their head and it makes them climb up. It's the zombie fungus.
Yeah. I've heard about
Ants
this.
and all kinds of animals can get this fungus that when they get it kills them, and it kind of takes over their body, and then they crawl up to the highest point where then the fungus breaks out of their head and then spreads through the air to more animals. And there's another version too that it makes them smell delicious while they're still alive, and then the other insects eat them, and then they get infected with the fungus. So,
yeah, I mean, you can't make that stuff up. Nature is just already weird enough. Like, I can't write that, like that kind of stuff. Like, what? Sounds like made up, right? No, that's real nature.
Well, there's been some really good plant-based horror movies also, where plants are kind of the monsters. So, and there was a movie way back, not way back, maybe the late 90s, called The Ruins. And there was these little red flowers that would grow around people and infect them. Really neat. I just think plants are way scarier than people give them credit for.
Little shop of horrors.
There is some of that will be happening for sure. Absolutely. Piranha plants from Mario, like who doesn't know those? That's a very iconic look. And just plants are spooky.
That's
and
true.
You expect them everywhere. So when one of them attacks you, it's very unexpected.
Yeah.
So, like, we're looking at like a giant Venus flytrap.
Some of that, but that's like the go-to. Like, I can already buy a giant Venus flytrap from like 4 vendors. So that's not a way that I went down. We have an awesome gnome costume, a garden gnome, a very angry garden gnome. That is a really fun costume that I can't wait to see interact with people.
Well, that's true that you're saying about the plants, though, because I was out walking yesterday, and I made a note. There was some alien-looking vine growing in the grass. Like, what is that? It was like purple, and it was like stickers. I was like, oh, that's a blackberry vine bush, right? It spread out. But the way it looked was very alien, because there was no other, like, everything's starting to come up in spring, right? Like, so that was the first thing to appear. So it stood out because the grass is kind of brown, and you see this purple, oozing through the grass. That's a good point. You don't really think about, how spooky nature actually looks.
And then
and then capitalizing on it.
once you start paying attention to it,
Mhm.
it's fascinating.
Alan, the gnome costume, is that what I've been seeing you posting? I think even for the HAA auction.
I'm giving one to the HAA auction. I'm a board member on the Haunted Attraction Association, and we're donating one for the auction. So, yes, you'll have a chance to get it at my booth. And we're also making, because of just the style that it is, and because Transworld is during St. Patrick's Day this year, we're doing a leprechaun version, and an elf version is available, but I won't have one at the show.
Question about your inspiration. Did you already answer the question for the inspiration? Is that what Laura asked you?
Ish. I got around there.
Because I'm like,
there's a lot of inspiration,
did you go to South America and do a ayahuasca ceremony or something?
No. But I did have 2 Monster Energy drinks this morning.
Oh, well, that might have done it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I want to ask you a question about the pandemic. And then
Great light talk. I love it.
Yeah. Well, no, this is actually not as bad as you think. But hey, real quick, if you guys have questions for Alan, just go ahead and ask him anytime you want, and we'll get to him here in a minute.
And I was about to bring that up. Go ahead and start dropping the questions in the comments.
Yeah, when you think about, like, if you look around and you really stop and pause and you see there's so much change going on as a result of the pandemic. I mean, just look at our industry. I think it's growing more. People are working from home more, and they want more experiences out of life, right? People are realizing life's short. I mean, there's a lot of changes happening. People are evaluating their lives. They're looking at. I got a buddy that's like worked at Dell forever, man, and he's making a ton of money. He's decided he's like, he's a boxing coach. He's like, I don't want to do that anymore. I want to sell watches.
Well, if he wants to be a garden gnome, I actually know someone that can make that happen.
Right.
What? Oh, I don't know. Okay.
It's me, Patrick. I sell garden gnomes.
Yeah. So, yeah, no, I get it. So the question is like, is there anything in your life that has changed because of that? Like when you look at yourself, is there anything that you've reevaluated or that you've kind of dropped or that you've been inspired by or you had a chance to look at? Because you were like, when you were saying like, when you really stop, pay attention to nature, you're aware of how creepy it is, right? So are there any other aspects of your life and things that you've reevaluated?
Okay. No. But that's
It's okay too.
Here's why.
Because you're already authentic.
I wake up every day doing exactly what I want.
Exactly.
And I have been doing that. The only thing that changed during the pandemic is I was given the thing that every haunter wants. I was given the gift of time. I had more time to think about what I was doing. I had more time to design. I had more time to plan than I normally do. I had more time to peck around on the internet and learn new techniques. I was able to kick back up my YouTube channel that I do during the pandemic. I mean, my viewers got spoiled. I had a video every week, and that those were wonderful things that I associate with this pandemic that killed hundreds of thousands of people. So there's a balance there. My wife was home more, and that was wonderful. So those were good things. Did it change my viewpoint? No. I've always known what I wanted. I've always just worked as hard as I could to do that, and that has not changed. I'm happy that other people are feeling that way. I'm happy that more people are choosing happiness. Happiness is the new rich. I think that the pandemic just cemented that, and I don't think we need beamers anymore. I think we need work that's fulfilling, and it makes us feel good.
Yeah, instead of being attached so much to things, right? And I got to work, and it's my ball and chain. It's like you can be authentic, and it's good to hear you say that because you are following your passion. You're already doing what you want to do, and it's the people that have kind of been stuck and just like, hey, I'm doing this to make money or whatever. They're not really following their passions, right? I'm
one of the. I feel like I'm in a terrible place to give people advice, but like a lot of people see, like, hey, I want to kind of be where you're at. Well, here's the problem. I started when I was 10. I never deviated course, and that's where I'm at. So if you want to get there in 3 years, I don't know that path for you. I haunted while sleeping in my car because, I went out of state and, they're not paying for a hotel room, but I wanted to learn what they knew. So I went there and I worked and I did that. And I'm not saying it's not possible, but it's easier now with social media than it ever has been. Establish your own personal brand, incorporate haunting, and make that part of your personal brand, and then you can achieve success monetarily through social media means and promotion means, and fulfill yourself with your haunt work
Yeah.
that other people are watching you do. Um, that's part of what I'm doing now. I certainly, the YouTube money helps. It's a little bit. If I had more time, I could focus on it more, and there would be more. Um, and like personal life, I love my work. My day job. I'm director of a haunted house. That's my 40 hours a week, sometimes 60. But that's also a job that I love. Personal life, I've been married, let me get this right, 17 years.
Mm-hmm.
uh
You better get that right.
Super happy,
Wow,
so
that's a feat.
that's that's probably the biggest.
Mhm.
That's, and she is good at things that I am bad at, and that makes us a great team. As she, helps me more on the business just gets more and more successful, because the stuff that I wasn't great at, I would rather sculpt a monster than answer those 4 emails about people wanting stuff.
Yeah.
So I'll get to them, but I want to finish this monster, and
Mm-hmm.
she helps me in those ways. She's very strong where I'm weak.
Yeah.
And
And you shouldn't answer emails anyway. You should be
yeah,
focusing on what you're good at.
having a great partner is, I met her
That's
at a
awesome.
haunted house. But how can I give advice about relationships when, that's the one. Like I don't know. I don't have the troubles and tribulations. Is that
Well,
because I do what I want and I am an authentic version of myself?
Mhm.
Maybe, I hope so.
Yeah.
I think,
But
you basically just followed your passion,
Mhm.
right? And because you were in that lane, you were focused and driven and inspired. You were in the right lane, that led you to where you were supposed to be. You met
I,
Shannon.
I don't
I
think I
mean,
made all the best choices, but I think I made the best choices for me.
Yeah. And
That's,
who's to
and I
say that
think
it was a bad choice? How do you really know? Because it could have directed you where you are now. We're getting really deep. We shouldn't have took
we
that
are,
acid before we went
we
on.
are.
it's
That's
good.
good
It's
stuff, Alan.
good.
Yeah, thanks for opening up about that. That's really good. You can hear the gratitude and the authenticity, and I think it's really interesting to hear from authentic people, because more and more people are being exposed to that at this moment, or even making shifts, because I enjoy what I do, but getting caught too much in the admin of things is what I've been caught in, right? And that's a killer for someone like me. I'm more creative and I need to be using my hands and be more involved,
What I'm running into for the past year or two is that I love every single thing that I do. I love going out to haunts and doing actor training. I love that. I love having people come here and doing a monster camp class. I love making products and selling for Stiltbeast. I love directing Dark Hour. As I keep gathering things that I love and not letting them go, I'm going to die. there's so there's so
A
many
lot
things
to
that I love
concern.
doing,
What?
but there's just too much of it. You know what I mean? I'm doing too much. I love everything that I do. I don't know what to let go.
Mm,
We're stepping back a little bit from actor trading this year, just
mhm.
because we're going to 2 shows instead of 6. And it seems like, well, that's only 6 weekends. Well, weekends are eating up. I have a monster museum at Scarborough Fair that I love doing. There's a lot of things that happen, and I love all of it. But I'm getting too busy to do everything that I love, and then some of those things slip. So I'm having to figure out, what am I focusing on? And
What?
am I a social media guy who does
Mm,
YouTube that's
mm-mm,
haunt related, or am
mhm.
I a, or am I a haunt guy who does a little bit of videos and YouTube on the side, which is kind of where I land? Am I a haunter who runs a haunted house and does that? or do I provide services and things for the haunt industry? This is me figuring out my life and winging it every day. But I love what I do, and people seem to like what I make, so and what I talk about. So I'm blessed in that regard.
I think you're definitely doing it right, Alan. And I have to say, I understand, that you've got all of these things kind of surrounding you that you love, and that's a great place to be. But you only have so much time and energy if you don't want to completely exhaust yourself. So, hopefully you get that figured out, what you want to focus on. And you could even probably change that too seasonally. Like for this time, I'm going to focus on YouTube, and maybe shift it a little bit so that you could do all the things. But
This is
you'll
great. I
figure
came
it
for an
out,
interview. I'm getting a life plan. This is awesome.
right? free download.
That's what we do on the wormhole.
I think it's good, man. I think we get to know our guests. We could talk about the fluff all day, right? But I love getting to know people, like what makes them tick. That's good.
So, Alan, we've had some questions come in, and I would like to hit some of these, and maybe this can spur further conversation.
I'm ready.
Let's see. So, Aiden is asking, can you talk about the turning your actors into legions class? Is that the movement one?
Well, okay. So that class is awesome. I'm teaching with Japes Palace, I believe is how I pronounce his last name, and Teddy Summers, and Ben Armstrong. Who I love teaching with Ben Armstrong. But what that is right now there's a labor shortage, not just in haunting, in everything. So how many times do you go to a business now and maybe they've reduced their hours because they don't have staff? Like we see that a lot in the Dallas area. So with a labor shortage, we have to do more with the people that we have. So it's turning your actors and making them seem like they're a legion. This is something that I've been doing for a long time because I'm cheap. The more actors that you have, the more profits go away. There's that balance that you have to have. So how do you make the most out of what you have? And this is my perspective and how I do it, and it's Teddy's perspective and how he does it, and it's Jape's perspective about how he does it and tackles that problem. And then this is a very interesting class format because Ben Armstrong is there, and he's kind of a moderator, but he is mining what we say to make sure that it's applicable for the guests. Questions in a seminar are kind of a mixed bag. It's someone might stand up, you just did this hour-long class on whatever, they're like, do you like cats? That's sometimes that's a question. I know that Ben is going to ask amazing questions that's going to get the most out of what Teddy said, what Jape said, and what I say, and make our information even better for the people who are in that class. So is it going to be movement based? Some of it's a little bit movement based. I think all three of us have very different angles that we're approaching it from. So a lot of mine are in construction. A lot of mine are in how is the set crafted for that actor to move around, and then, someone else's aspect is training. How do you train that actor? How do you make sure that you have the right person in the right role? But I don't really know what they're talking about. I know what I'm talking about. And I think that's going to be a very unique format class.
That class sounds amazing. I kind of want to go to it. I'm not even involved with a haunt.
I know that what I teach isn't going to resonate with everyone. But one of us, me or Japes or Teddy or Ben, is going to say something that's going to resonate with somebody. And in my brain, if someone comes out of the haunted house that I directed and everybody says that this one thing was their favorite, then I have failed, because that's the only good thing in the show. But if they come out and their answers are all over the place, this was my favorite thing. No, this was my favorite thing. This was my favorite thing. I've succeeded, because then I'm hitting a lot of notes, and that's what I think this class will do.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm pumped for that class, and I'm not even part of a haunt.
I'm excited for everything that I'm teaching. I'm going to be out of my booth for like 12 hours teaching classes, because I have six class events that I'm going to be at and participate in. that's part of it. It's I don't want to miss that. I don't want to miss teaching. I don't want to miss, you know, what my wife calls light bulb moments when you say something in a class and you watch people go, oh, that's a good feeling.
Yeah, it should be. The seminars. It's like you get 1 hour, right? And you think about what can you possibly teach someone in 1 hour, compared to like taking like 3 or 4 months of a class when you really learn something. Because we're doing a seminar, and it's just like, really, this is like I could spend 6 months on this stuff. Like that.
My goal is always to make them think about it. My goal is always to make them think differently or consider another viewpoint. No matter what my topic is, that's kind of my goal. Sometimes because they edit your class descriptions. Every time I write a class description, I say in there, I promise not to waste your time, because I think that's important.
Yeah.
Time for a haunter is their most precious commodity. So I always promise not to waste their time. Sometimes it doesn't make it into the description. Sometimes it does.
I think that's pretty much something you can say, with all of us. It's like time is precious, and it's the one thing that you can't get back. You can't recoup it. It's like once it's gone, it's gone. So something I've been saying for the Transworld, education this year, it just seems like there's so many great classes. So if you have a large team, hopefully, right, you've got a few people there representing you, divide and conquer, like try, because there's probably going to be a few classes going on at the same time, that you want to go to. So hopefully, I don't know. I'm kind of worried that one of my classes that I'm teaching is going to be at the same time as Alan's. I'm like, oh gosh.
The last few years, we've been paired like the same time Alan's class is ours, and it's like, great. It's like now we're competing up against Alan's class.
Well, you know what though? It's such different information. I don't see it as competing. I see it as, again, hitting different notes. Some people come to Transworld. In general, actors are. It's not Transworld's not an actor show. In general, yes, some actors come, but mostly it's a show aimed at the owners. So there's a lot of business classes and a lot of marketing classes. But again, they have to hit different notes. And if my class was up against Ben's class, up against John LaFlamboy's class, well, then you have, everybody they're like, well, I want to hear the acting stuff that guy's going to talk about, but then which one do I do? But if you put a marketing class and then a side money, how to sell donuts or whatever class, food, and then an acting class all at the same time, that works out pretty good. Then someone on an acting track can hit all those, and someone on a business track can hit all those.
Yeah.
Tyler, I think you're muted.
Well, while they're muted, I was going to ask you about the crazy season at Dark Hour. I mean, you guys were closed.
I was unmuted.
Well, you were silent.
Wow. Okay. So so y'all can hear me now?
Yes.
Yep.
All right. That's weird because it tells me I'm muted.
Yes, we were shut down in 2020, and then we reopened in 2021, Patrick, and we had a phenomenal year.
Yeah, it was pretty like phenomenal in a stressful way, though.
Yes.
I don't
ever want to do that many people again.
What happened?
Well, apparently people missed us, and our marketing was awesome. So, like, those two things happened. Remember, I said 2020 we had more time.
Yeah.
So we had better images. We had, we had more time to build sets. We redid a lot of the haunt for 2021, and the creative energy of making all those new things. And my crew, we kind of burned ourselves out with the off-season shows. Not that we burned ourselves out, but we kept ourselves at a low flame because we had constant energy being put in to doing all the off-season shows. And we had a year and a half of no off-season shows. All of our creative energy put into the Halloween season, and I think that showed in the images, that showed the new sets, and that came through in the marketing. Social media is so direct. like you can put your energy and flavor on it way easier than you could back in the day with a radio ad or a newspaper ad.
Totally.
It's just harder,
Yeah.
because you're not making 3 newspaper ads. You're making 70 10-second ads, and the flavor of impressions are just way better for your show. Yeah, and you can target them better.
Mm-hmm.
But so what happened? A lot of factors came together to make it awesome.
Well,
And
so
now I have to raise the price because I don't want that many people to come again.
well, like, what is like
price is the only way that you can control how many folks come. Sorry to interrupt you, Patrick.
no, that's, and I want to elaborate on that, but I'm still curious about like what was like one of the worst nights, and like, when I say worst, I mean as far as busy, like, were you like, wow, this is going to get out of control, like we're gonna, I mean, what was, do you have something that stands out?
Yes. We're in a roughly 50,000 square foot building, and it is on an appropriately sized piece of property. The line was out our building. Normal. We normally have a big section of the parking lot for line.
Yeah.
And then it went out across the parking lot, which is a big parking lot. And then it went down the street, and the line, we had to send extra people out there because the line crossed the street 2 times.
What?
We were on 3 separate lots. You have to send people to each side of the street to make sure that, okay, your group can go across to join that side of the line. And that way no one cuts at the street gap. Again, I do not want those flavor of problems anymore.
Wow. That's amazing though.
I would kind of rather do, 15,000 people a season and they all pay me $100 each per ticket, rather than, let's get $5 a ticket and we'll do 300,000 people.
Yeah, more quality.
I did not do any math there, but you know what I mean? It works out, at some point where I say this all the time when I'm training or when I'm talking to my guys here in the shop. I'd rather scare a family of 4 for $1 million than 1 million people for $1 each. Think about wear and tear on your actors, wear and tear on your sets, and what you have to do. Now that's obviously the extreme of both sides of that. But, landing somewhere in that middle is kind of where you want to be.
Why can't you do both? Why can't you have your masses one and then you have your special little project that is like premium?
It's hard to have 2 masters.
Mm.
As a guy who runs a haunted house, sells to other haunted houses, and has my own pursuits, it's really hard to focus on more than one thing at a time. And just like I said before, my creative energy, the creative energy of Dark Hour being poured into all the off-season shows, it kept us just a certain amount of war down all year.
Yeah.
Whereas if you can focus on one thing and make that the thing that you're best at, I think that you're better off.
That's good.
And that's a guy who has multiple focuses, and I'm trying to narrow that down and figure out what I'm good at,
Yeah. That's the FearWorm formula, right? So be good at it, right? Be the go-to.
So, and y'all can hear me, right?
Yes.
All right, perfect. So we had a few more questions. Shayna is asking, I guess this is back to Stiltbeast Studios. Do you still have your noisemakers?
Yes. We have death whistles and fear fans and, all kinds of just little things, because again, that's something I thought that the industry needed. And no one has really knocked us off on those yet. So, as soon as that happens and other vendors pick them up, we can move on. But
Alan,
right now, we still provide them.
Alan, I wish I had a picture. So I introduced my Down syndrome sister to the death whistle last night. And if you could have seen her face, she was not enjoying it.
That's not a use I recommend.
It's okay. I fixed it. I put on some Harry Potter music. It was fine.
Yeah. So we have another question here. I think this is more kind of getting into how you think, but when you have an idea for a product, whether it be mask, prop, whatever, do you sketch it out or just start creating? Do you research first?
So I have to answer that question in a weird way. I'm sure you're shocked by now. I constantly research. Because I constantly research things that may not even have to do with haunting, I get ideas for haunting. So research comes first. I can't have an idea and then do research on it. To me, that seems a little bit backwards. I might look for reference images, but I need to do I'm constantly researching things so that my brain then throws out all these hooks and like, let's grab this piece and this piece of information and let's adapt that to what we're doing for the haunt. So it's pretty constant research, which leads to more product creation. And normally I just make it. Because that's faster. There's two types of clay when you're sculpting. There's oil-based clay and there's wet clay. And wet clay is just like mud. It literally comes out of a riverbank, and it's very soft. And I prefer wet clay because I need a clay that I can sculpt it as fast as I can think. And the oil-based clay, it kind of has to heat up and it has to work and that kind of stuff.
That makes sense.
So another question from Greg here. Will the Predator Price seminar be available in any other format like YouTube or podcast? I can't be at Transworld till Friday.
Nope.
It will not. They don't do that with their classes. But Greg, if you can find me at my booth, I'll be happy to talk with you.
Yep.
Yes, I'll be
You have
happy
to go to the
speak
show
with you, Greg. Just come to my booth, and we will chat. That's why I'm in the booth when I am.
And if he's not there, his cardboard cutout will be there. You can talk to him.
You can talk to my cardboard cutout.
Oh, there needs to be like a little like push button that just plays Alan's voice saying something.
No, it doesn't need to be that.
The top 10 questions you always get and just put those on a little like.
Well, and normally at the show, I'll actually bring clay and I'll sit and I'll sculpt in my booth.
That's cool.
So I'm not going to do that this year because I'm going to be gone so often. But while I'm sitting there, I can normally talk with people. So, but I'm at the booth to speak with people. And that's why I'm there.
What's going on with that YouTube part? Is that a party thing or event? Is that private or what? The thing you're having on Friday, you invited us to.
Okay. Yes. So I have a YouTube channel.
Yeah.
I have two YouTube channels. I have a Stiltbeast Studios YouTube channel where it is a how-to channel. I post how-to videos. Way back when I had one channel, I did a lot of live videos of me making stuff. That's a very different audience. So the Stiltbeast Live channel is all just live videos. I'm live once or twice a week at this point in my life. Once or twice a week, I'm live for a couple hours, and we're making things in the shop. And we wanted to have a get-together for the people who watch either one of those channels, if they're going to be at Transworld. So that'll be Friday night. I'm hoping, it looks like I see Stacy is in the comments, and she's she's the suggestion harpy / Girl Friday around here. Hopefully she can post the when and where of and it's just that it's a chance for us to meet and talk in person, because Transworld is so busy and it is so crazy. So it's Friday night. Yeah.
That's really cool for you to do that, because especially your loyal fans that watch that, and that's a really neat thing to do. I think it's
so weird to say fans, I started the YouTube channel because there was not the internet when I started haunting. We learned everything in a very organic fashion, and it took forever. And I wanted there to be a video library of techniques. If someone wanted to build something for a haunt, then all they had to do was look it up and they could find it.
Yeah.
Great. And that's what I wanted that to be. That turned into the live, and the live channel actually came about because of the pandemic. Because I wanted better news for people who were stuck at home. So I wanted to go on every night and be positive. During the pandemic, I was live almost every night.
Yeah, good.
And then it pared down to 6 nights, then it pared down to 5, and now I'm at that 1, 2, because there's it's not all happy news, but there's There's less of that negativity in the news that I saw.
Alan Gregg is asking, is that event open to everybody?
Yes. Yeah. We just posted it, so go ahead and crash.
There's an event page somewhere.
Yeah, it doesn't cost anything, and I think that you just had it flash up there.
Let's see if what's it called? We have an event page somewhere.
So it's 7 to 10 p.m. in the Park View room at
Yes.
the Marriott Grand Mezzanine. That's from Stacy.
Yeah, that's kind of that's the host hotel. So,
yeah.
But it's, I hate to say this, we're normally too busy. Like I try to have, FearWorm wants to have breakfast with us at dark hour, and a lot of times I can't make it, because that's when clients are in from all, and it's just, let's set aside this time. There's a quiet room. There's no DJ, and let's just get together and talk haunt. That's my favorite thing about Transworld, is sitting around with folks and talking haunted house. So
that sounds awesome.
Come hang out with us for that time.
Alan, I know we're kind of running at the end of our broadcast here. I got 2 questions left, and then I need you to hang on for a bit after the broadcast. But this one's from Kristen. She's asking, how much creative, artistic, or sculpting experience does someone need to enroll in Monster Camp?
0.
Most
people who come to a Monster Camp is something that I have here at my shop, where we get 6 to 8 people and they all make a mask. It's a 3-day thing. They sculpt it, mold it, clean it out, pour it up, and then Sunday they pull it out and paint it, and they leave with a finished mask and mold and head form to make more. But you don't need any. You don't need any experience, because everything is here and provided.
So how many monster camps do you do per year?
It depends on the year. It all depends. We've had up to 5 in a year and as few as 1. So it all depends on, again, like how many weekends are there in a year,
yeah.
Haunt takes up about 10 of those, so that's 1/5 of the year is gone in weekends. And then if I'm actor training, at 6 shows, that's 6 more. It all depends. I think we're going to announce some here shortly. And I think we have 2 dates lined up for new monster camps.
That's awesome. That stuff always looks so much fun.
It is fun. It is fun. It's great to be in a room with a bunch of people focused on the same thing. And that's one of the things that makes Transworld cool. That's really coming up. Everybody in that room loves what you love, and that's awesome.
Last question here, and I think this is because you were alluding to this when you were chatting about Dark Hour earlier, and kind of the time you've had to create better sets and better images. But Abe is asking, how important do you feel good advertising images and creative media creation is to the success of a haunted house?
I think Abe is asking a loaded question, because I see in his picture he's holding a camera.
Yeah.
I think he's stacking the deck. But 100%, boy, I'm gonna get rock thrown at my head for this. I think it's the most important thing. The most important thing is to get people to come to your haunted house. And then the second most important thing is to give them a good show. You might think that is reversed, but if you can have a great show and nobody sees it, how long is it going to be there?
Yeah.
That's tough. So get people to come and then give them a good show. And right now, people's attention spans are getting shorter and shorter and shorter and shorter. There's like 4-second ads now. There's 7-second ads now. That's crazy. But that's the attention span. That's how long it takes to hook a person. And then hopefully you can afford to, or place them well enough where they see that 4 or 5 times. You get enough impressions, it builds up in their head, and then they come to your show. And how do you get them to look at it in the first place? Images. Way back in the day, Laura, who for me is right there, way back in the day, Laura worked with us at Dark Hour, and I always maybe I'm not always right, but I'm like, I want a big monster face. This ad has to have a big monster face. And don't hide the eyes. You have to see the eyes because the eyes are what make a connection. Don't hide the eyes and big monster face. That's what I want. I've leaned a little harder on silhouette in the past, let's say 5-6 years, rather than just that big monster face. But that I think that's important. Having that connection in the eyes, and the images they're everything.
Absolutely. And I think, with saying that video too, so important, the pieces, the media that's going to capture their attention and cause them to pay attention, more attention than just a few seconds, and then to ultimately get that impression to get them there to your show.
Well, and it's
so important.
You have to flavor that correctly, because if you do that right, those images tell them what to expect when they get to your haunt. If they know what to expect when they get to their haunt, then you have more happy customers because they're getting what they expected. If your images and video are misaligned with what you're doing, then you have the issue of you attracted this type of person, but then you didn't give them that experience when they got there. I think it's huge. I know that you guys are probably trying to shush me off, but I had a weird thought.
Not at all.
Like,
keep going.
My only hobby that is not related to work is fishing. And one day I'm in a store and I'm looking at fishing lures, and this crazy thought occurred to me that I am looking for fishing lures that I think are attractive and that fish will be attracted to. Everything is out there. Every color you can think of, every type, every style is out there. But there are ones that I am attracted to. So I am only going to catch fish that are attracted to the same things as me. I'm only going to catch fish that like the things I like. Isn't that weird?
Only a little bit, Alan.
I think it's great. You get the right fish. You don't want fish that you don't have anything in common with.
I want a fish with views that align with my views.
Yeah.
So that I can pull the hook out and say, "See ya, buddy," and throw him back in the water. But it's the same thing with haunt customers. As a haunted house director who controls that vision, you're training your audience, and the ones who like what you like will keep coming, and the ones who don't like what you like will not come.
Yeah.
And that's okay. There's other haunts out there for them.
That makes sense.
Yeah, Alan couldn't have said it better ourselves. And thank you so much for joining us on today's wormhole. Is there anything else you'd maybe like to tag going into Transworld next week?
Oh goodness. I'm in booth number 4. I'm teaching a bunch of classes. Just come say hi, let's talk haunted house. And I want to hear the weird thing that your haunt does. Like when you come to Transworld, what does your haunt do that you think no other haunted house does? Because I would love to hear that. That's how I grow, is by getting that kind of stuff from people. So
I love that.
Feel free to come and tell me those things. I may 100% steal your ideas. Absolutely. But hopefully I give you 1 or 2 in return,
That's awesome. Well, Alan, thanks again for coming on with us today. As I mentioned before, if you can just kind of hang on after we end the live stream for a second.
I'll be here.
Awesome. Well, Alan, thank you. Thanks, everybody. Patrick, Laura.
Did you see my messages?
Yeah. Let's see. Can we get Tashana on? Tashana, if you're watching, join the stream. You have a link.
We got to bring Tashana and give her some camera time. Our new employee.
Yeah, we have a new full-time FearWormer that's joined our team. I don't think a whole lot of people have really met Tashana yet. She'll be at Transworld with us.
We got to read our Transworld events. We have a blog that went up or something. So I was hoping that Tashana and Laura or somebody could cover that. Man, that'd be kind of cool. We have a lot of stuff going on real fast before we end.
Let's see. I wish I would have known, Patrick, about this.
I've had it up. Chat. Well, it's fine.
Let's see. And is Tashana here? Is she joining? Maybe.
Oh, I thought she was still on the link. Did she leave the link?
Mhm.
Yeah, she left the link.
Oh, okay. I didn't know she left the link. Well, Laura, you can read the thing off and whatever. I just thought she was hanging out.
Well, on fearworm.com, we do have a blog up. It's talking about everything 2022 Transworld. We have a few events happening, but I want to cover our seminars first.
Yeah, Thursday at 2:00. Tyler and I are going to be hosting a escape room seminar on mostly in social media marketing. Mostly, I guess is the best way we could say. How to maximize your budget for your escape room. But escape rooms are really small budgets, man. They're smaller, and so they're a lot more difficult to get. To maximize your spend, right? And so you have to. I mean, we're going to show you how to do it. Right. Tyler has got this long, really great presentation. Literally, we could spend 3 months on it. Okay. But I think you'll be able to walk away with something, but also talk about some of the bigger picture things too that need to happen as well.
Yeah.
If you want to maximize your budget, right? Might realize about the answer. So
that's Thursday at 2 p.m. Mastering Facebook and Instagram ads for escape room owners. So if you operate an escape room, own an escape room, this is a class you do not want to miss. And Patrick is right. The information is so dense and so packed that you're going to walk away with so much information. But also Tashana. So hello, Tashana.
Hi.
Everyone. This is the new full-time FearWormer, Tashana. You'll get to meet her at Transworld, and she helps us with many things. But Tashana, are you looking forward to anything at Transworld next week?
All of it. I'm just really excited to go. I went 3 years ago in 2019 for the first time, which is actually where I met Patrick, and that's what led to me working for FearWorm full time. So, I'm just excited to go back and be an exhibitor this time and not just an attendee. So,
yeah, it's a different experience, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
She was so excited because she was working at an ad agency at the time. In a haunted house, I remember, and you made a beeline when you saw that there was somebody that did both that you liked. I never forgot because you were very excited. So yeah, we kept in touch. Man, I'm glad to have you. I'm glad you're working with us. It's fantastic. Really helping us stay on track.
And so, but we do also have another seminar that is completely free. So a free seminar on Saturday at 11:30 a.m. And that is a social media workshop that's activating your social super fans. FearWormer Laura is going to lead that. And if you know Laura and you know social media, you probably know you're going to come out of there with overwhelming amount of information. But that is a free seminar. It doesn't cost anything. That is Saturday at 11:30 a.m. That's in room 127 at Transworld. Laura, did you want to maybe talk a little about that?
Sure.
Sorry, Tyler and I are kind of like swapping audio sometimes. So
yeah, turn yours off, please.
Okay. So if you can hear me okay, yes, please come to my class. I definitely, one of the things I'm looking forward to doing is sharing some of our successes. I'm just going to show you some of the things that have worked for us and hopefully inspire you with new marketing trends and different social media concepts that would work for you and stuff that you can do right away, stuff that you can start doing right now to start kind of fueling that algorithm for your season. So please, come to my class.
Jam-packed. Like that seminar is going to be a lot. So there's 2 seminars we're doing. We're also got the City Museum event happening Thursday night.
Yeah, thank you.
Jen called us like at midnight last night, excited about how well that event is looking. And it's going to be a lot of fun. And so you'll see the FearWorm team there. That's Thursday night, City Museum. We'll see you all there. Escape room seminar, free seminar on Saturday about social media. There's a lot going on. And of course, you'll have the team there in our booth 1119.
And then we have a new one ticketing. We have all kinds of
there's so much going on.
So much going on. Yeah, you can go to you can go to FearWorm website or social media and get more information. Like you guys are just sitting around waiting to see what we're doing at Transworld, right? You're like, we're going to Transworld just to see FearWorm and all their stuff. No,
No, but we're there.
And we may have a hidden bar evidently. Is there a hidden bar in our booth?
I don't think so.
Oh,
No?
there's not. Never mind.
I'm like, what is this
We
news
don't
to
have a
me?
hidden bar. Oh, God, no. Just making stuff up. Tyler, you always talk about you travel with booze or something. Tyler travels mainly with cologne and booze. He has literally 1 or 2 shirts in his bag, and everything else is booze and cologne.
This is true.
Seriously, look at his suitcase.
I am usually the best smelling person on the show floor, and I travel with a bar because the hotel's too expensive. So
You need to get a picture of your suitcase.
Why does that sound so creepy?
It is creepy. No, it's funny. You get it. Yeah, right. Cologne and liquor.
Yep.
Sounds like an episode of Dateline with Chris Hansen.
Oh, God.
on that note, everybody, thank you for watching this episode of the FearWorm Wormhole. We will see you, all of us. We will see you in St. Louis next week.
What are you doing here?
Yeah, so we'll everybody. Thanks. Yeah, go start getting ready. It's exciting. It's that time of year. And bye.
If you have an interest in being a guest on the Wormhole or an idea for a topic of discussion, please email admin@fearworm.com.